You know what I'm saying? I mean, I didn't know.
I would say that it was when I was about 15 that I started to compose and notate, so more seriously. I was lucky because I had a composition teacher in my high school when I moved to the US. Until that point I did piano, and that was the beginning for me. And I would say that I really knew the composition was what I was going to do as my career. When I went, I was already doing my PhD, and I went to Prague for a year. And that was my first time being away from school, actually, my whole life. And I got involved with dancers and theater and saw really people who were working as artists full-time, because in the US it's quite rare. And there was something really magical about that. And I started to work with them and to work more on different projects. And it just gave me so much energy. And I thought, well, I really want to have a career in a field where I really love the people who are around me, who inspire me. In composition, unlike in performance, I think, the career develops more slowly. And so in your 20s, you're studying, you're doing your advanced degrees. And your 30s, I would say between 30 and 35, is really the age where you find your voice, you're doing the more prestigious festivals, you maybe get a publisher, and you're working on the bigger projects, and you really have to be very, very dedicated to your career. It's not a coincidence that for women, this is an age where there's a lot of pressure to get married, to have kids. And I think around that age of 30, 35, 37, you lose a lot of women. I have to say that I've never experienced anything in France that had to do with sexism. And I work here with technology, and I felt very supported by IRCAM. The difficult part is that I'm sure there are people who say, because I've seen people do that, not in front of me obviously, but with other women, I've heard guys say, oh, she got this because she's a woman. The thing is, that is said no matter how you're different. I've heard he's gotten this because he's, non-white. He's gotten this because, I don't know, any number of reasons. So I think whenever you're going to have anyone who's not the standard, which is, yes, a white man still, you're going to have people say that. People tend to like people who are similar to them. If you have a room of white males from a similar background, similar financial background, similar culture, so all these layers of familiarity, they're likely to choose people who are similar to them, not because they're sexist or racist, but because they feel comfortable. Would I do the same? I hope not. But I think in order to not do that, you have to be very much aware of not wanting to do that. If you just sit there and say, well, let me choose the best, that can be quite tricky. Because yes, the best is the best for us, and the best for us tends to be something that rings with our standards. And maybe that's, speaking also about gender diversity and diversity in general, there's also the question of, okay, why do we want more women composers? We say we should, but why actually? And when I have guys speak to me about this topic, sometimes, it used to be, now not so much, people used to be a bit bitter. They're like, oh, I'm so tired of this thing they're speaking of now, where we need to have more women. And then I don't get upset about that. It's fine, because the real question is why? Why is it important? And do you think it's important? And I think there are different answers to that. Maybe if some people don't think it's important, that's fine. I think there are good reasons to have more diversity in general, not just in terms of gender. It can be sexual orientation, it can be, race, everything. Because it can bring different voices, and that's interesting. And it creates new conversations, and also musical conversations.